Rams fans, welcome in on this edition of Rams Showcase. Your favorite duo has arrived. Plus, no losers in the NFC West last week, an early look at the standings. And later, time for some revenge. Rams at Eagles, full game preview. Let's rock.
We here, man. We gotta take advantage of it. Victory on one. Let's go.
Welcome to Rams Showcase with your host, Sheriff Joe Bags.
Yes, welcome to it, Rams Showcase. My name's Sheriff Joe Bags. Shout out to Rams House for the intro help there. Link for his YouTube channel will be in the description below. Absolutely incredible channel. Absolutely incredible dude. Nothing negative to say about Rams House, and also back in action as far as Rams coverage goes. You'll love to see it, so definitely check him out as well. He's a participant regular of the fan quesos, much like Payo time as well. So definitely share some love, dude. Some incredible Rams content. So definitely some really good deep dives over there as well. So check that out. Check out Payo. Check out everybody, dude. There's so much awesome Rams content to intake into your eyeballs. It's absolutely incredible, man. I love this fan base. And all the creators, the amount of creators I think that we have is just, that's top notch, man. And just really, really good people as well. We got a lot to get into tonight as, of course, the Rams taking on the Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday. Very decent area as far as watchability. If you're going to be just watching on, just at home on my bunny ears. Is that an outdated reference? I don't know. I still have them. I don't know what to tell you. It's that and the internet. All right, so we got that going for us. But a pretty large area this week. We'll get into that part of the game preview. Make sure you follow along on socials at Ram Showcase, at Sheriff Joe Bags, ramshowcase.com. That's where you can check us out. Also, the First and Tuna podcast YouTube channel. You can catch me there Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings, 7 a.m. LA time as myself and Tuna talking Rams ball. Friday, we'll get into your game preview. Mondays, we do a bit of a wrap-up, and then Wednesday, that's kind of turning the table a little bit. We're trying to do a rewatch on Monday nights. It got closed down this last week. The Titans one lasted about 15-ish minutes or so, and then got cut off by the powers that be. So we're trying to navigate that because we think we should be allowed to, but there's some rules we got to kind of finagle a little bit and maybe interpret in our own ways. Yeah, other than that, you know where to follow along on socials. Now it's time to talk about some Rams football, all right? So I want to talk about Davante Adams and Puka Nacua, all right? Your favorite duo's favorite duo. This duo is absolutely insane right now, this combination of weapons that Matthew Stafford has to throw the ball to. Unbelievable. Last week against the Tennessee Titans, 197 total receiving yards. Of course, Puka broke off that 45-yard touchdown run on 4th and 1 as well. So that's, part of it as well is that the run game is also going to feature some Puka Nacua in your life, which is not bad news because clearly it works out. There's so many different things to pick out when it comes to both of these guys. And you can pick out so many different plays, even just already from these two games, where you can see so much value in their combination, their connection as well with Matthew Stafford, that I also just believe is going to grow. Because even though we had Davante Adams hit the 100-yard receiving mark for the first time as a member of the LA Rams, it still feels like there's just so much untapped potential in that connection, Matthew Stafford to Davante Adams. This feels like a Puka Nacua Davante Adams combination, and hopefully this isn't the only year we have it. I don't believe that it is. I do anticipate that Davante would be back next year. We'll kind of talk about that when it gets to time to talk about that, but I think that ultimately we're going to be talking about this Puka and Davante combo. Like, how did the NFL let this happen? Like, how did the other people let this happen? How in the world are we allowed to do this? You know what I mean? It's like the NFL, I feel like the football gods wouldn't allow us to have Jared Verse and Aaron Donald at the same time. But in the meantime, they let it slip that we got Puka Nacua and Davante Adams. That shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be allowed, but it's absolutely incredible. And like I said, it just feels like the true combination, the full capability of this combination here, and Davante Adams being incorporated into the Rams offense. We have not yet seen that at its peak, I believe. So I'm excited for it. And I will say, too, that I don't think that we see it necessarily this week, next week, the following week. I think after the bye week is when we're really like, oh, my gosh, this is crazy. I feel like once we get into like that November time is when we're going to see some plays from Davante Adams. It's like, this is unbelievable. And I'm fired up for it, man, as everybody should be, of course. This combination, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. I just want to kind of hammer that a little bit, that we're getting to see this live and in person right now. That's unbelievable. We're going to be telling our kids, these stories. I mean, you probably already are, or maybe your kids are with you. I don't know. Sometimes I keep saying that. It's like, I'm in my 30s. I forget that, like, not 18 anymore. People my age have kids, plenty of them. So it just feels like something that we'll be talking about for a long, long time. Years from now, 20 years from now, we're going to be like, dang, do you remember when we had Devontae and Puka, that Super Bowl 25 season? Spoiler alert. Oh, hopefully. But it's just one of those things. Like I said, 197 last week for the combination of those two, and Devontae Adams hitting that 12,000-yard mark. Feels like 13 is certainly realistic for this season, especially if against the Titans, against a good corner as well, that it felt like, okay, he's starting to get rolling, but it does feel like there's a lot left in there that it's untapped at this time. So Devontae Adams, I think that the progression of how he starts to incorporate into the Rams offense, we're only 2 games in. I think that that's very good news for Rams fans, and I think that there's plenty of reasons to be excited for the rest of the season with Devontae Adams, of course. So I just wanted to kind of nail that a little bit, just to hammer that down, that Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, don't take this for granted. You know what I mean? Like, just soak this in right now, because we're also already going into week 3, and I don't know about you, but it feels like it's going too fast already. We spend all summer waiting for football to start, and now it's just game, and then it's going to be over soon, and then we're going to be like, dang, that was quick. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to slow it down a little bit and also just kind of soak in what we've got here right now, because having a team with Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Jared Verse, this is a team that I feel like we kind of remember for a long time. And I remember so many different teams and different players for so many different reasons, like looking back on like Steven Jackson, James Laurinaitis, where it's like, these guys are killing it. I don't know what everybody else is doing, but it's like stuff like that, like looking back on those times. And then you also, like, we have 8 guys from the Super Bowl season that was not that long ago. Just 4 years ago that the Rams were able to pull off a Super Bowl win. Matthew Stafford's first year as a member of the Rams. And we only have 8 guys still around from that team. And some are back. Coleman Shelton and Darius Williams are back around. They left and now are back. So 6 that have stuck around since those times. And I think we can even already look back at the 21 season and be like, dang, OBJ, Von Miller, Eric Weddle, Cooper Kupp. Like, we can look back at those times already and just kind of like appreciate what we had in that era, in that little kind of the tiny era. Let's be real here. That was such a small little window of time where we had these guys all together. And I mean, it obviously worked out real nice, but it's that's one of those things. It can happen so quick. Like, we're in that moment watching the Rams just absolutely demolish the Cardinals in the playoffs with all these guys playing really good football. And it's just one of those where we only had that peak era was like this long, you know what I mean? So obviously the McVay era as a whole kind of oversees a good portion of this with multiple Super Bowls with different quarterbacks and stuff. But I think that ultimately I'm just trying to make sure that I'm appreciating the time that we've got with this team that we have right now. And in turn, I'm just hoping that there's at least one person out there that's like, yeah, I don't need to look at 2026 and what's going to happen after Matthew Stafford yet. We're good. We're in here. We're in this season right now, only going into week 3 as well. With a 2-0 record, one of 10 undefeated teams still remaining in the NFL after 2 weeks. Absolutely incredible stuff. Let's go ahead and get into our news here. Not a whole lot to report, except for the unfortunate news involving injuries. So head coach Sean McVay, torn plantar fascia, and that's crazy to me. My coach goes harder than yours, and those are the rules. I don't know what kind of limitations that we'll put on Sean McVay, but hopefully he's all good. Hopefully, I don't know when second baby's supposed to come around. I think that's a thing, though, right? I'm pretty sure I heard about that. I try not to dive too far into personal lives. It feels weird, but hopefully he's okay and is still going to be doing his all chaotic stuff on the sidelines there. And we had some really good conversations about the Sean McVay like coach speak on injuries of his own. Check that out on Tuna and the Sheriff, available on the Rams Showcase Facebook page as well as the First and Tuna Podcast YouTube channel. Audio version out and available as well. Just search Tuna and the Sheriff. Good stuff there. But also in injury news, we did lose cornerback Akello Witherspoon. He has been added to IR with a broken collarbone. This happened pretty early in the game, unfortunately. I believe it was just the first quarter that he laid a pop on somebody, and of course it didn't end well. But no surgery is needed and should be able to return later this season, but added to IR, so he's out at least 4 weeks. I'm not sure what that timetable will look like, but I would assume post-bye week is when we'll see number 4 back out on the football field. But the expectation also is that Darius Williams will now get a little bit more of a regular look in this defense. It's unclear if the Rams will make... Oh, I wrote this note a little too early. We'll get to that soon here. The Rams did end up making a move for a cornerback, which I wasn't necessarily anticipating, but it does make sense, especially with the IR addition. Just some depth, I think, is a good news. And speaking of that depth, Rams bringing in cornerback Trey Brown, 27-year-old. Now, he actually turns 28 next week, a week from today, date of recording, so next Wednesday. Only one game as a member of the Rams at 27, then it clicks over to 28. So he's getting up there, dude, which I hate to say as somebody in my 30s. It's like, oh, 28? He's going to be 28? He's almost done. Not true, but still, that tends to be the conversations. It sucks to know that, like, at my age, like, even if I was crazy athletic, I'm not, but if I was, even then, my age would turn teams off, and they would say no because of that. That's a hard pill to swallow when you start gaining some years, you know. I remember the first one that I realized I was the same age as was Aaron Donald. I was like, oh, we were born the same year? Crud, man. It's like, dang it, man. And then the first one, too, that I remember, the first player that the Rams had that was born in the year 2000, after the millennium, which was Bobby Brown, actually, Texas A&M. That was the first guy that the Rams had that was born after 2000, and that kind of messed up my brain, too. I remember celebrating that Y2K. It was crazy. Good times. But back to Trey Brown here. Did play with the Seahawks for the last 4 years. In his career total, he has played in 39 games, has started 13, so at least some solid experience there. He has 2 career interceptions, one of those for a pick six, 40-yard pick six. 74 career tackles, 63 of those being solo. He did sign this offseason with the 49ers on March 12th. But he was cut September 1st. So, third NFC West team for Trey Brown as he's kind of making the rounds. We'll see if next stop goes to Arizona or if he tries to mix it up a little bit post-Rams. We'll see kind of what happens. Or maybe he's sick and he just stays here forever. Who knows, man? Who knows? Time to look at the quick peek at the standings here. We're not doing full-on rest of the West right now. But we will be getting there just within a few weeks. Once kind of things start to just develop a little bit more. But just a quick peek at your standings. Your Rams sitting in third place with a 2-0 record. Arizona with a 2-0 record, but they do have an NFC win. San Francisco has a NFC West win, so they are sitting in first with their win over the 49ers that came in week 1. So 49ers sitting in first, 2-0. They defeated the Saints last week by 5. This week they are hosting the Arizona Cardinals. So another division game for the 49ers is knocking them out, dude. Knocking them out because we get them in week 5 as well. So they did 1-3-5 for their division games, knocking out at least one matchup for all of them. Week 5 against the 49ers will be the Rams' first divisional game. Arizona Cardinals, last week, they defeated the Carolina Panthers just by 5 points as well. And this week, of course, visiting the 49ers. So, interesting matchup there. Definitely one to keep our eyes on because if the Rams are able to pull out a win, at least, well, they will be slipping into second place if they can pull out the win against the Philadelphia Eagles this week. Preview right around the corner here. Rams, of course, 2-0, defeated the Titans by 14 points and visiting the Philadelphia Eagles, the team that ended their season last year in the playoffs. And then the Seattle Seahawks, they had defeated the Steelers by 14 just last week. DK going against Jalen Ramsey. We got to see that plenty of times, but now it's just for 2 different teams there. But 14-point win for the Seahawks over the Steelers. I'm starting to think the Steelers might not be sick. You know what I mean? Like, at what point do we have to be like, maybe that defense isn't that great? I don't know, man. It's at least got to be potentially a conversation. But the Seahawks will be hosting the Saints this week, who did just lose to the 49ers. Saints, pretty rough team this season. I think everybody kind of anticipates they'll be picking at least top 5. We'll see how the rest of the season unfolds, though. You never know. Maybe Spencer Rattler just flips a switch, dude, and is absolutely awesome. Who knows, dude? Who am I to say? Who am I to say, man? Who am I? But those are our standings right now. Obviously, playoff picture, we're not yet diving into that because we're just into week 3. But once the season kind of progresses and that picture starts to become a little bit more clear, it's very in the distance right now and a little fuzzy. If this was one of those eye doctor things, this would be the bottom line. You know what I mean? The bottom line where it's like, yeah, you can see it developing. You can kind of see what's going on down there, but like, do you need to? Probably not. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? We'll take a quick break here. On the other side, we'll get into your game preview. The Los Angeles Rams 2-0 heading out to the Philadelphia Eagles, also 2-0. Link, the host for this matchup, where the Rams season ended last year. But lots to get into on the game preview. We'll do that right after this break. It's Ram Showcase. Welcome back in. Sheriff Joe Bags here. This is Ram Showcase. Your Los Angeles Rams sitting at 2-0, heading to the Philadelphia Eagles, who are also 2-0 for some Week 3 action. Lincoln Financial Field, 10 a.m. kickoff time. This game will be on Fox with Joe Davis, Greg Olson on the call. On your screen right now is the distribution map. Rams will be sitting in the red zones for this one, so actually a really solid area. We did anticipate that this would be a decent-sized area for this matchup. Just given the situation, the Rams and Eagles playoff game was maybe one of the better, probably the best playoff game, I think, last season. And I maybe I'm a little biased there. I'm not, pointing out any, no AFC matchups are really sticking out in my head for this one. But honestly, this game being an early window kickoff, I think is a little bit unfortunate. I know that some people, Tuna mentioned it this morning on the the Tuna and the Sheriff podcast, that he likes this game being early. Just get up, get it out of the way. Let's go. Let's roll, And I disagree. I think this is blatant primetime action. I think this one needs to be under the lights for sure. Now, the fact that this will just be probably sunny. I actually didn't check the weather for this one yet. That it'll probably just be nice. That's kind of weird. You know what I mean? But either way, I actually do like this game being early season, so we didn't get burned on some more weather in this one, because it really did feel like that last game. The Rams did, to me at least, maybe felt like the better team, but then you get that weather in there, then you get a couple of explosives out of the Philadelphia Eagles, and they were able to just close it out. For you bettors, the Rams are plus 3.5 for this one, plus 150 on the money line, 44.5 for your over-under. They're giving the Rams about 20.5 points and the Eagles about 23.5, so it really is a bit of a coin toss in this one. That is the situation where anything can happen. So obviously, games aren't played on paper, obviously, so you got to get that action in there. And lucky for us, Philadelphia Eagles fans absolutely love Jared Verse, so that should be A-okay. We're going to have a good time there. Let's get into our pants picks here, as Rams will be in the royal uniforms for this one, and almost a clean sweep here with the soul pants. Myself, Peo, and Rams House going with the soul pants, but Tuna has to throw a wrench into those gears, obviously, like he does, and he's going with the royal combo. So the royal on royal combo is Tuna's pick. We'll see how it shakes out. We'll probably have that probably tomorrow on Thursday is when we've typically been seeing the combination. We also might have to start throwing in some socks here, dude, because socks are a thing as well that they, announce. This is the NFL in 2025. You get sock announcements. It's a very big deal. Very big deal. History of this matchup. This is the 47th all-time meeting between the Rams and the Eagles. The Eagles do lead the all-time series 25-20-1 against the Rams, so 5 more wins. And if we're looking at regular season all-time versus the Eagles, the Rams are 18-23-1. Of course, with that tie not being a playoff game, of course. But the Rams at the Eagles all-time. Eagles lead that series 16-10. And the Eagles have won 9 of the last 10 matchups against the LA Rams. So and that even creeps into St. Louis, actually. So the Rams win of that stretch come in 37-19. That was in September of 2020. Definitely remember that game. That was an absolute blast. I think Higbee went off for 3 touchdowns in that one. Good times, man. That was a fun game. I think that was week 2 or maybe it was a week 3 as well, man. It was I know it was early season. I remember watching that one. That was COVID year, so it was all weird. I just remember I have this image, and I don't know why this of all the whole 2020 season, the thing that sticks into my head the most is Tyler Higbee scoring a touchdown against the Philadelphia Eagles and then dancing, and there's nobody in the crowd. And I just feel like that's such a weird image, I guess, in my brain. That I just remember Higbee just doing this weird little dance thing. And there's just nobody there. That's so awkward to me. I don't know, man. That's first year of SoFi. This wasn't at SoFi, but crazy times, man. But in the last 10, the Rams have only won one time against the Philadelphia Eagles. So it feels like we're due. You know what I mean? Let's turn that tide a little bit. Let's get that little bit more into our favor. Because before these last 10, the Rams were leading the all-time series against Philadelphia, who we also have, by the way, a very interesting trade history with, if you are not aware. Roman Gabriel, we've got Ron Jaworski, we've got the Sam Bradford, Nick Foles trade. Lots of crazy stuff. We were actually talking about that at the bar this last week of like how many times we've traded quarterbacks to the Eagles. It's crazy, man. Who knows, man? Maybe their next quarterback is Stetson Bennett or something like that. Stet Benatar out here. But the first ever game between these two, that was a 21-3 win for the Rams. That came on September 21st, 1937. This was the second Rams game in their history, and their first win of all time came against the Philadelphia Eagles. The most recent game between these two, though, coming in the playoffs just earlier this year, but last season, happened on January 19th of 25, 22-28 for the Eagles, and absolutely crazy game. I feel like I've watched that game probably 6 times over the offseason, and there's so many things that stick out as far as, like, if that would have changed, man, the Rams win that game and then move on, and the way that the Eagles left that game and absolutely just destroyed the Commanders and then beat the butt cheeks off the Chiefs. It was just one of those where it's like, it just felt like if the Rams could have pulled off a block, in that last drive, or just getting a tackle, man. Don't let them absolutely explode for a huge run there. Then the Rams are maybe, going on, and not just going on, but winning the Super Bowl is kind of what it felt like, at least for Rams fans. And you also get the Kyren fumble. There were so many turning points there where that's why I say that I think that the Rams played better. It really was like 3, 4, 5 things that decided the game. And that is the case for most NFL games, in fairness. But looking back at that one, the Kyren fumble, then the Saquon run, and then the Bo Limmer missing those blocks on Jalen Carter for the last 2 offensive plays of the Rams season. That is just, those 3 things was like, dang it, man. Like, we were right there, man. And it seemed so close to be able to do that. But also, I mean, you take that Saquon run, and that directly impacted how the Rams treated their offseason, bringing in Poona Ford and Nate Landman. So hopefully the Rams can take that loss and the mistakes that were made in that game. And it seems like at least they've at least made a push to correct those issues on their roster this season. And hopefully it pays off in this matchup. And this is a very good test for the Rams. Maybe probably the best test for the Rams so far. Although, I mean, we got to give Houston absolutely credit. I think that they're a very good football team. Obviously, they're 0-2, but their defense is absolutely great. I think they're only giving up 14 a game, which obviously that's pretty solid. Houston Texans, very solid team, though. Tennessee Titans, I think they played a little bit better than I expected last week. But, obviously, biggest test here against the Philadelphia Eagles. Colts are no slouch. 49ers, we know about them. Baltimore after that, then Jacksonville. I mean, it's a tough stretch. Every NFL team's a good football team, so hopefully we can kind of, settle it down and handle our business on our own. So, but this is probably the best matchup of the week. I kind of talked about it earlier. This absolutely deserved to be in a primetime slot, whether that was TNF, SNF, or MNF. I mean, it needed, in my opinion, to be in one of those slots. Rams at Eagles, obviously, it just seemed like that was such a big game last year in the playoffs, and it came down to the end, not like most playoff games didn't last year, and it just seemed like the putting this week 3 in an early window did feel like a miss on the from the schedule makers standpoint. But either way, still going to get some high flying action for this one. And I guess there is a little bit of that with Tuna saying that, like, he wants it early, just get it out of the way, we're good. I guess I'm going to take that approach too, because we can't change the time slot. It's not like it's going to get bumped to the night or anything like that. So I guess that's what I'm going to just kind of go into it with. But of course, the Eagles knocked the Rams out of the playoffs last year. Incredible game, snow game. First half was decent, and then really picked up in the snow. I just have this sweet image of Jared Verse just doing the in the snow. It's like implanted in my brain. Then there's also a picture that I really like of Matthew Stafford. He's like doing something like this, but it just looks cool, man. It's like man, that's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. But definitely probably the most entertaining game of the 24 playoffs, I would say. So obviously, Eagles would go on to win the Super Bowl, blowing out their next two opponents. Rams fans definitely felt like they were the better team. I know I did. And yeah, just one of those things. Just an unfortunate kind of situation. But both teams coming in this year, obviously 2-0 for both teams right now, with a win on the road and a win at home for each. The Rams have only played AFC opponents, while the Eagles have defeated the Cowboys as well as the Chiefs in that Super Bowl rematch. Chiefs, though, may not be. They've lost their swag, I think. It's like Austin Powers losing his mojo. Chiefs have lost their swag, man. So I don't know. I don't know how impressive that is yet. Cowboys, too. I think that they're kind of a bummer this year. I think that mostly they'll be a bummer this year. Chiefs have kind of lost their swag. So are the Eagles real dope? As we're about to find out, we're also, I think, in my opinion, we're the best team that Philadelphia has seen so far as well. So I think that's something to think about. As far as milestones go, I only wrote one down for this because I think it's rather exciting that Matthew Stafford needs just one touchdown pass to tie Matt Ryan for 9th most in NFL history, which is absolutely awesome. So obviously 2 takes him into 9th by himself. There is a little bit of a gap to 8, so we'll get to that when the time comes. But right now, he's Matthew Stafford obviously sitting at number 10 all time. Could creep into number 9 with even an okay game. So that's good news. I was looking through the Eagles roster here, trying to find some connections, some former Rams that are on the Philadelphia Eagles, and I found one, and it's a depth guy, actually listed on the unofficial depth chart as a third stringer, Obaniah Okoronkwo, the Oklahoma product, Obo. He's like a depth rotational piece. May be inactive on certain weeks, considering his positioning on the depth chart there, but I think that ultimately what I'm looking at here is that that Obo is the only one. Coaches no, and then no other players except for Obo there. So matchup in this one. So we're looking at the Rams offense going against the Philadelphia Eagles defense. The Rams total offense 7th in the NFL, 382 a game, going against the 8th ranked total defense in the Eagles, 307.5. Passing the football, Rams top 10 unit here, 8th overall, 257 a game, and the Eagles are 180.5. That is also top 10 unit, 8th in the NFL. Running the ball, Rams are putting up a little over 110 a game. That's dead center in the league, 16th, and Eagles, this is kind of where their downfall on defense is, giving up 120 a game. That ranks 21st in the NFL. Average points being put up, Rams are at 23.5. That's tied for 11th, and the Eagles giving up 18.5. That is 12th in the league. And then third down, Rams doing killer here, top 5 unit, 48%, and the Eagles, this is definitely a struggle spot for them as well. 47.8 is what they're giving up, so almost even there, but that's tied for 25th in the league. As we take a look at the Eagles roster, obviously plenty of guys to pinpoint on the defensive side. Starting with Jalen Carter. He only has played last week so far, as he had 3 quarterback hits on Mahomes, 1 TFL as well. But this is the guy who effectively ended the Rams season in the playoffs last year, right there at the very end. But with Coleman Shelton now at center, this could be the game where it becomes obvious that the center position has improved. We love Limmer. I love Limmer. You love Limmer. We all love Limmer. But this is an improvement. And I think that this week is going to be a very clear cut, like, yes, we improved at this spot. So that's what I'm looking for. I think that another game where we can kind of pinpoint Coleman Shelton, kind of picking out assignments pre-snap, and then just watch him when the ball's snapped. I think he's doing an absolutely incredible job. But Jalen Carter, obviously we know who he is, what he's capable of. So definitely somebody to look out for. Next up, we'll go Zach Bond. 15 total tackles, 11 solo, 1 TFL on the season so far. Obviously an extremely solid inside linebacker. He runs the defense, you know what I mean? So he's a 2024 Pro Bowler. Bond, definitely one of the more solid linebackers in the NFL. When there was some talks about him maybe not returning to Philadelphia before the Rams got Landman, he was definitely a name that I was pinpointing of like that would be a player to bring over. And I just thought that would be interesting as well, having the team that knocked you out of the playoffs kind of, making that move, signing one of their guys to kind of like even that playing field a little bit. But obviously, Nate Landman, more than happy with that, probably even happier with that, honestly, the way that he's already playing, the way he's already impacted the Rams defense. But it's only his second year in Philadelphia after spending 4 years in New Orleans. Bond, though, he's absolutely killing it. Cooper DeJean. second-year corner, just one pass defended so far on the year. But we'll be spending time, of course, on Whittington as well as Tutu, as he is more of a nickel guy. But he could also be getting some reps against 17 and 12, as the Rams definitely set you up to need to cover those guys with your nickels as well, and sometimes your linebackers. Sorry for you, dude, but you got to figure out your matchups there. Anytime you have a linebacker on Puka Nacua, you're going to have a bad time, all right? You can't be pizza right there, man. You're going to have a bad time. So, obviously, though, Cooper DeJean, very, very solid player. He's really good, man. I mean, he'll it's a tough battle for him this week, but it's also a tough battle for the Rams going against these corners. So it kind of works there, you know what I mean? And Cooper also lost Jared Verse for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Sorry about it, dude. He was also behind Braden Fisk. Sorry about it, dude. But in fairness, I'll give it to him. Quinyon Mitchell was technically second. We're not mentioning here. Because why? I wrote the show. Your best one-on-one for this matchup specifically is going to be Coleman Shelton versus Jalen Carter. Coleman, he is effectively on the Rams roster because of Jalen Carter. If Jalen Carter doesn't blow those up, do we even go after Coleman Shelton, or do we just roll with Limmer going into his second year? I don't know, man. I tend to think that the reason Coleman Shelton's here is because of Jalen Carter. So this being the matchup in week 3 is exactly why I'm saying, like, this is it. We get to see now why Coleman is back because of this exact situation. Carter got through to Stafford on the last 2 offensive snaps of the Rams' 24 season. Of course, the sack and then the incompletion that was intended for Puka that went out of bounds, which is also the most unfortunate part about that. It's like, I feel like if at least the ball falls in the field of play, then it's like, I can accept that a little bit more. But the fact that it went out was like, didn't even get a chance at it, man. The second it was out of Stafford's hand, it was over. And that's a bummer. So, but Coleman Shelton, he may not pop on like Sundays, like when you're watching the game, he may not pop off the screen to you. But I'll say, if you're an analyzer and doing the alt 22s and really paying attention to the inner workings of how the offensive line is rolling and stuff, Coleman Shelton's doing an incredible job. I think ultimately the Rams' offensive line is not on fire right now. I'm hoping that kind of starts to settle in as the season goes on. But Coleman, I think that being added back, I want to say this is his first time playing with Wendell, Rams' offensive line coach. I'd have to look at the overlaps there. I'm pretty sure that's true, though. But Rams' offensive line, I think, is underperforming right now. And I'm looking for Coleman and the other leaders. You know what I mean? A.J. Jackson, Rob Havenstein, Kevin Dotson. Avila may or may not be in for this week, but I'm looking for these guys to really step up and start, showing why we're a sick offensive line, man. We won Offensive Line of the Year in 21. Obviously, that's a very different team now. The only one that's still here, Coleman back, and then Havenstein, of course. So, I don't know. I just want to see that unit kind of improve. That's where we need to see some improvement, especially if we want to get the ground game running. So, Coleman Shelton, definitely a big part of that. But Carter, coming off of his first game of the 25 season after some bogusness in week 1, that I think that we've coined the term the Daxident is what we're calling that one for week 1. Didn't even get a rep in, man. I mean, whatever. I'm not mad about it. Who cares? Coleman, though, versus Jalen, that's a fun trench battle. You'll probably hear about plenty this week with all the game previews that are going to be out there. This is going to be a conversation. Coleman Shelton versus Jalen Carter for sure. That's going to be quite the topic, but worth focusing when the game is live. It's going to be worth keeping your eyeballs on both these guys for sure. 3 to see for the Rams side on the offensive side of the football here. We're going to start with Devontae Adams. Adams has arrived. It still feels like he's got so much untapped potential in this Rams offense, though, and that should only be exciting. You know what I mean? Like, we want to get that rolling, but it takes some time, and there's also plenty of games to go still. So he broke 100 for the first time as a Ram, broke 12K on his career, and I think we just need that graphics department to go ahead and keep that 13K image ready to roll. Just keep that one locked and loaded, dude, because I feel like by like week 11, we might need that. All right, so stay on it, graphics department. But the real reason I'm putting Adams here is because there is going to be a team that's, maybe it's the Eagles, but there's going to be a team that focuses more onto Puka Nacua and kind of is trying to take him away. Fortunately for the Rams, you try to take away one of these guys, the other one's just super dope. So can just light you up any way any way you choose, I guess. You know what I mean? But so far we've seen Ladarius Sneed as well as Derek Stingley travel with Devontae Adams. Teams are not wanting to let Devontae Adams burn them up, and there's going to be a team that's like, well, we can't let Puka put up 130 on us like that, you know what I mean? And then that's going to open up Devontae. I don't know if anybody has the corners to truly take both of these guys away, and even if so, really love Whittington, really like Tutu. I mean, our tight ends are super sick, so there's a lot of good to be said there, but I say that the reason I put Devontae here is because there is going to be a team that, instead of putting all of their attention on Devontae, is going to put that attention onto Puka, which is going to open it up for Devontae, and it does kind of feel like this might be the week that happens. Just saying. But the secondary of the Eagles and Puka's hot start, it just feels like this could be the week where we see more doubles on 12 than 17. You know. Next up, 3 to see is going to be Davis Allen, the general. He has arrived, dude, and it feels like it can't be real, right? Is it? Is Davis Allen the Rams' best tight end? I don't know, man. I don't know. He might just be. Play calling would certainly suggest it. I would say snap percentage doesn't necessarily tell us that, as Higbee is still getting the majority of the tight end snaps. Last week, Higbee had 46 reps. Allen had 25. But Stafford's finding him, dude. Stafford's finding him. Back-to-back weeks with a touchdown reception for Davis Allen. Absolutely love to see it. And I'm going to convince Tuna to give us a Davis Allen all-22 breakdown. So look out for that. Be on the lookout. I'm sending that to Tuna. It's done. Tuna, all-22. I need Davis Allen. I need the general, man, on a 22. Let's get that done, dude. But he's playing good football, man. Davis Allen is. And whoever is our best tight end, I just hope they keep it up. I hope they keep kicking everybody's butts. I think it's awesome. So no word yet on what's keeping Ferg off the field, but I've got my own little conspiracy here, and that is that the Philadelphia Eagles are where one Terrence Ferguson gets unleashed. You know what I mean? So it's potential that could be a thing, that the first few weeks that we kind of hold them a little bit back against some AFC opponents, but then we're just waiting for the right team. And it also, in fairness, could be San Fran in week 5. If we don't see a lot of them here, then that's my new conspiracy. Switch my conspiracy from week 3, we unleash Ferguson, to week 5, we unleash Ferguson. All right. That's as simple as it is. Yeah. So Davis Allen, though, might be the Rams' best tight end. And who knew? Dude, that's crazy, man. We thought he was going to be number 4 on this depth chart. He might be number 1 in our hearts. So we got that. Kyron Williams, next up on the 3 to see here. Williams has really yet to explode on any runs this season, but based on what I'm seeing, I will say that I do think it's possible this team is kind of missing Cooper Kupp's blocking. I think that's absolutely a real possibility, that we could be those little cut-ins, man, some hitting the gaps in the middle there and kind of taking out somebody who wasn't expecting a wide receiver to take him out of the play. I do feel like we're kind of missing that a little bit. So I think that the Rams do need to make that adjustment here. But while the Eagles front is really solid, they're also giving up 120 on average on the ground. Against a Dallas team we've all agreed was only going to be decent through the air, and a Chiefs team, which they're supposed to have a super powerful offense, but do they? I mean, you got Travis Kelce out here just handing interceptions to corners and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't know how powerful they really are, but those are two teams that maybe weren't supposed to have this killer ground game, and they're giving up some yards. So I think it's absolutely possible that this is a game that the Rams can try to get that going a little bit more. And I also think it's a game that the Rams should focus a little bit more on the run, as you want to win time of possession against the Philadelphia Eagles if you can. I mean, it's a very tall task to be able to pull off winning time of possession against Philadelphia, but it's got to be an attempt. And in order to do that, you need to be able to run the football. I'm looking for Kyron in this one. So he's been in situations where he's gotten very close to breaking out, but and it does feel like it happens at some point, but right now the blocking is just not there. And Tuna definitely hit that on the all-22, talking about, Higbee getting blown back and stuff like that. And that just can't happen. You're not going to run the football when your blockers are sitting on the butt cheeks. That's just not how it works. So overall, though, obviously a really tough matchup for both teams, in fairness. The Rams have a strong offense. The Eagles have a strong defense. It's a really fun matchup to watch. But game planning going to be critical in this game. We got Sean McVay versus Vic Fangio. Fangio's certainly capable of creating a game plan that can stifle that McVay offensive style. But we've also yet to have that, like, oh, this is the Rams offense kind of moment. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like we've had that game yet, especially with the addition of Devontae Adams, where it just feels like we're firing on all cylinders. Even though the Rams are playing really, really good football on the offensive side, this is one of those games where it's like you have to take to that next level. You have to not make those mistakes, not make those like that silly interception that Stafford had in the first half last week, stuff like that. That kind of stuff has to be avoided this week. Just play good football, play smart football, and just get to third and short and convert. Third and short and convert. That's kind of how you beat Philadelphia right now, and just the way that they're really good. That's the thing, is like they're really good. They win a lot of football games, but they're also the most boring team in the NFL to watch. And I know there's at least one, like, if any Eagles fans are seeing this, they're like, whatever, because that's literally my impression of Eagles fans, and I stand by that. But it's just one of those things where it's like, well, if you hate it, stop it. And it's like, I mean, this is entertainment. This is supposed to be entertaining. You guys are not entertaining. It's boring as hell to watch. You know what I mean? So either way, who am I? Let's flip over to the other side here. We got the Rams defense going against that Eagles offense. So the Eagles offense definitely not getting it done here in as far as total yards or anything goes. 29th total offense in the NFL, 266.5 on the season so far, averaging. Rams top 6 unit here, 293 is what they're giving up per game. And fourth against the pass, giving up just 147 a game right now, which is absolutely awesome. And the Philadelphia Eagles not doing it a lot through the air. 119 a game, that's 31st in the NFL. The fact that there's somebody lower than that, bruh, wild. Rushing the football, this is where the Eagles definitely make their money. 140 a game, that's 7th in the NFL. Rams giving up 111 and a half, that's tied for 17th. This is the matchup to watch there, of course. Average points being put up, 22 a game for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right in the middle of the road there, tied for 16th. Rams giving up just 14 points a game. That is first. And on third down, the Eagles are converting 48.1%. That is third in the NFL. And the Rams giving up 33.3%. That is tied for seventh. So really, really good matchup there as well. But yes, that I don't anticipate that the Eagles are going to even really try to open up the air attack against the Rams, considering, too, that the Rams have done such a good job against the pass and also have just such a mean pass rush. And Jalen Hurts knows that firsthand, that that pass rush can get there, and it's a problem. So it's good news for us, though. But opposing players we want to keep our eyes on for the Eagles offense here. We're going to start with Lane Johnson. Lane will definitely, he's going to be responsible for blocking Byron Young, who is absolutely on fire right now, 3 sacks on the year. It turns out blocking Byron Young is very difficult. Who knew, dude? Who knew? We did, but, you know, we got to let them think that we didn't know. You know, Lane, though, obviously a very good tackle, veteran, you know. He's going to need to handle Young and Verse, because Verse will travel over there as well. It's going to be quite the day, man. That's quite a problem to try to need to stop these guys all day long. But Johnson gave up the most last season to Jared Verse in the playoff game. That was definitely like a blip in his whole production. The whole season, absolutely killing it. Goes against Jared Verse, bloop, and then was fine again. But Jared Verse, absolutely, man, he can make some real strong guys look not strong. You know what I'm saying? He's absolutely incredible. Like I said before, though, if you judge a tackle's, if you judge a tackle by his ability to block Jared Verse, everybody's just gonna think he sucks. I used to say that about Aaron Donald all the time, where it's like, oh man, Aaron, that guy, he blew it against Aaron Donald. It's like, yeah, most people do. Like, that's not a big deal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, same thing with Jared Verse right now. It's like when you need 3 dudes to block Jared Verse, it's like, yeah, because one dude will embarrass him. He's gonna get embarrassed out there. So, got to do it, man. But Lane Johnson, obviously a very good player, veteran player, stuff like that. So, obviously, that's gonna be a fun matchup to watch, no matter who he's going against, whether that's Young, whether that's Verse, whether that's Stewart, whether that's Hampton. I think that's gonna be, excuse me, some very good action to check out. Next up, we'll go with Jalen Hurts. Hurts has not needed to do much through the air this season, but at 2-0, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Win the game. That's the most important stat, right? That's the one you want. The win. You can have 400 passing yards. Awesome. But if you lose, then it's like, well, could have done more. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter. You just got to get those points and finish up the game. And Eagles are probably the best team at just keeping the clock running. They just hold the ball as long as possible. They're 29th in total yards, I think they're fourth in time of possession. Crazy. I don't really understand how it works, but I'm sure we'll find out this weekend, where it'll just be really frustrating. We've given up, some short yardage situations there, so getting off the field is going to be absolutely critical in this one, though. But if the Rams' run defense is truly improved, then this is the week to really show up and try to force Jalen Hurts to be the passer. You know what I mean? Like, if the Eagles' offense is forced to pass, we really don't know what they look like quite yet, at least this season. We don't know how powerful that can be. And with the way that they haven't necessarily had that much experience passing the football this year, it also could open up potential for turnovers this game and try to get some picks on Jalen Hurts. But speaking of the passing attack here, I'm going to go with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown, he's obviously the top target, and I'd imagine that while the winning does cure everything, there is certainly some wide receiver attitude that loves to get the football. They've only thrown for about 240 yards on the season. That is 50 yards less than Matthew Stafford had just last week. And Brown is certainly capable wide receiver. But Rams now down a corner. That certainly plays into it as well, losing to Ahkello Witherspoon. But if the Eagles are forced to pass, I think Brown could be in line for a decent day. But I also think that this Rams defense is going to be very strong against the pass for most of the season, depending on, staying healthy throughout the rest of it. And my best one-on-one here is going to be Jared Verse versus Jordan Mailata. So we saw this last season as well, and obviously Jordan's a great player, Jared's a great player. So this is just a solid matchup there. These tackles, this offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles, obviously really good. We're hoping that there are some referee meetings this week in what we saw with the that really lame play for the Eagles against the Chiefs last week. But there's, you can look at it and you can see that the Eagles players are in the neutral zone, at least 3 of them, if not 4, or if not 5, all the offensive linemen just being all in the neutral zone. And then you got the false starts as well, 3 times doing that. I don't know about the Eagles fans too, because I know that Eagles fans are very all go Birds and all that, and then they'll just defend their team no matter what. But I feel like if this was the Rams doing something that was blatantly rough like that, I feel like I would kind of have a hard time with it, and I would at least admit it myself. And be like, yeah, we were moving early. They're probably going to start catching that. Hopefully not soon. At least acknowledgement I think is reasonable there, but. Hopefully we see that, and hopefully this Rams front now with Puna Ford as well as Nate Landman. Hopefully we can stand up to that tush push play and get it done. Speaking of Nate Landman, he's our first in our 3 to see, our defensive quarterback. Man, Nate Landman has showed up in the inside linebacker room. He's made such an impact already. It's absolutely awesome to see. Nate's worth keeping your eyes on both pre-snap and during action. Sometimes he's not necessarily in the middle, but then motions kind of dictate whatever too. Sometimes as well as formation, obviously. I think people forget that a lot too, that sometimes the way the defense's play unfolds, we may not even know what the actual call was or what somebody's assignment was. Because it's not like if you're in cover 3 and there's no one going deep, you're all your corners are back at the 20, just chilling, like this is my zone, I'm waiting. It's no, go cover somebody, So sometimes it just doesn't dictate to where we can see it. But Landman, obviously, he's doing such an incredible job. It's an interesting one this week with the production from the Eagles offense so far. But Landman, he's getting guys into position that's going to be critical this week, and going against such a powerful team, obviously we want to be able to shut that down, and it all starts with Nate. So that's who I'm looking at first. Next up, I'm going to give it to Darius Williams. Ahkello, added to IR for a bit of, he's dealing with that broken clavicle. D-Will, though, stepped in week 2, had some really good plays there. There was that breakup that he had that I thought was absolutely awesome. Just, read the ball well, put himself in good position, and made a play, which we've grown accustomed to seeing D-Will do that. He's also got one of my favorite plays since returning to the Rams, or since the Rams returned to LA, with that pick 6 against the Seahawks. That's one of my favorite plays that we've seen. That was bone on blue, too, the combo. And so I think that was one of the first times that we saw that, and it was yo, this is awesome, man. So that was fun times. I think that was the 2019? I think it was 2019 playoffs. Maybe I don't know. I don't remember. That's fine. I don't have to. Either way, but Darius Williams obviously coming in. He's been kind of noted as a starter. Didn't really play in week 1. Last week kind of got forced into action with Akello going down. So something we're watching for there is him covering A.J. Brown, obviously, who is appearing to get a little bit frustrated in the Eagles offense. He kind of mentioned it, like winning's the thing as long as you win, right? And then that's kind of like, oh, it's tough. Like, yeah, but also they're wide receivers. They want to play. Everybody wants to play. They want to get into the action and stuff. Next up here, we're going to go to Quentin Lake. There are multiple players who will play some sort of spy role this week against Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. Lake will certainly get his share of those reps as well. And he'll be critical in those situations, of course, as far as those short yardage situations, keeping out of those short yardage situations. Hurts getting the Eagles into 3rd and 4th and short is what ruins people, man. That's got to be avoided at all costs. Even on 3rd and 9, you can't give up 8, that's for sure, because then they may convert. But Lake definitely going to be getting his hands dirty in the box in this matchup, but as well as Curl. But I'm looking at the captain here to kind of rally the troops and get that rolling. But overall, the Rams' biggest key to victory against the Eagles is going to be time of possession. Get off the field on defense and hold on to the football on offense. The Eagles are terrible in yards per game, but incredible in time of possession. It's absolutely incredible. But some of this burden certainly going to fall on the offense, but I think the defense getting off the field early in drives and not letting it be 8 plays and then give up a field goal. It's like, no, let's get some 3 and outs here, man. Especially early in the game. Let's get some 3 and outs. Let's get the Rams offense the football. Keep Jalen and all those guys on the sideline. That's going to be your best bet. This game, of course, like I said, kicking off at 10 a.m. LA time on Fox. Rams will be in the red zone on the distribution map there with Joe Davis, Greg Olson on the call. Join us again on Friday morning on the First and Tuna podcast YouTube channel, as well as the Ram Showcase Facebook page, as we'll be live for Tuna and the Sheriff doing more of a game preview. And then I also have my pregame live streams that we'll get into on the Ram Showcase Facebook and YouTube channel. We're going to start doing giveaways. I think I can pull one off this week, but don't hold me to that. We'll see what happens. I will say if I do have a trivia question, you were given the answer during this game preview. Boom. And you have no idea. Ha! Crazy. We got fan quesos. That's next right here, Ram Showcase. Welcome back in, Ram Showcase. Sheriff Joe Baggs here. Let's get into our fan quesos. Let's see here over on the YouTube channel. That's where we post it in the community section, like the post section or whatever of YouTube. So you can check it out there if you want to drop a queso at any time. You can also just message any of the Ram Showcase socials. I do try to check those as often as I can, but I'm so bad at social media. I want to get better at it, but I also am not trying. So I don't know, man. I'm in a weird spot with social media. Me and social media have a weird relationship because I don't really like it, but I know I need it. That's the problem. You know what I mean? Either way, fan quesos here. First one here coming from Paul. Says, what do you think of Joe Burrow eventually coming to the Rams? I absolutely love it. I think that this is very realistic. I don't think that this is something that we should necessarily ignore as far as like a possibility. I think that Joe Burrow potentially coming over to the Rams is a very real possibility, I would say. The Rams are a team that I don't know if Sean McVay will ever want to take on a rookie quarterback and just hope that that works out. Because let's face it, every single draft pick is a lottery ticket, and you don't know if that's going to hit or not. And even first-round picks, they're far from guarantees. If you don't believe me, go back and look at just 3-4 years ago. Look at the top 10, 15 picks and tell me how many of those guys are even doing stuff right now. So it is very much a toss-up. And if you can find somebody in the NFL that you know fits with you, you know is a competitor, you know can compete in this league, and you have the ability to go get them, I say do it. And I don't think it's impossible that Joe Burrow is eventually the Rams quarterback. There's other guys I think that are possibilities as well. Trevor Lawrence is one that I think is a very real possibility. And I know a lot of people don't really like him that much as far as his talents go. I think he's absolutely incredible. I think that we'll kind of see that as the year progresses now with Liam Cohen down there as well, and just kind of drive up his value, I think, if he were to at some point get traded. But I think that overall, Joe Burrow is that name that Rams fans have in their head of like just respecting that player so much, knowing what he's capable of, and the Rams are also just a team who is blatantly willing to go get a guy. You got 2 first-round picks. You could certainly try to spin it if Matthew Stafford comes back, excuse me, for next year. I mean, you could definitely spin that pick into a next year's first-round pick and then try to give up, 2 ones to the Bengals for Burrow, because I just don't think any of that's impossible. And obviously Burrow's hurt right now with that turf toe, is going to need surgery and stuff like that, but that's nothing to be concerned about long term necessarily. Everybody's going to get hurt in this league, but I think it's one of those situations where Joe Burrow might get to a point where he's like, I got to get out of here. Cincinnati's not it. And being a team like the LA Rams, I think that, first of all, I would imagine he wouldn't be opposed to coming to the Rams post Matthew Stafford. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like that is certainly a possibility. And then I also think that Sean McVay and the Rams would be interested in bringing in a Joe Burrow. So obviously, we'll have to kind of see how it all plays out. I mean, we have Matthew Stafford right now, and no one's looking to rush him out of the building, I think. So, but Joe Burrow, the potential of Joe Burrow eventually coming over to the Rams, I think is rather exciting conversation to have, and also I think legitimate. I think it's realistic. So, coming here from Payo Time. These are actually broken up nicely this time. That's kind of cool. Next few here coming from Payo. Definitely check out his YouTube channel, by the way. The Payo Time Rams YouTube channel. It's Rams Radar with Payo Time. Definitely check that out, especially if you are looking for some kind of in-game content. As Payo does, the watch parties are absolutely awesome. Sometimes even breaks into a different watch party, like we went into the Atlanta game this last week as well. So, but either way, Payo Time. So the situation: you were contacted by Sean McVay to help with a team game of capture the flag in SoFi Stadium. Yes, the entire stadium, outside included. You are asked to pick 5 players from the offense and 5 from the defense to go first. Don't worry, everyone will get a turn. Love the show. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. I would say 5 players on offense for capture the flag. I'm going Devontae, Puka, Jordan, Tutu. And I need that speed, man. And then give me K-Dub, man. That's my 5 on offense. I think that's an easy one too, dude. I need that. I need the speed. I need the agility, man. But not to be outdone, you need some chaos on the defensive side of the football as well, man. So give me Jared Verse, pure athleticism. Can't defeat that at all. Give me Cam Curl for sure. We need the speed to counter Tutu. So give me Emmanuel Forbes, who on Rams Revealed this week says that he's faster than Tutu. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll have to find out, I guess. Maybe we'll get a race off-season time. He said they can't do it in season. Never know what can happen, man. Some bad things can happen, but looks like in the off-season we'll maybe get to see Emmanuel Forbes Jr. versus Tutu Atwell race, and I'm so excited for that. But you got to match that speed somehow, man. Emmanuel Forbes quick, so definitely gotta do it there. So what does that give me? 3? Did I say? Yeah, I think I said Cam Curl. That was what I wanted to say if I didn't. So Verse, Curl, Forbes, give me Q Lake. I need Captain Q up there for sure, just for the brain power of that one to match up with the Puka Devontae stuff. And then after that, man, I need the Land Shark. I need Kobe Durant too, man. You gotta have that out there, man. If you're playing capture the flag and you're roaming around all of SoFi and going around the lake into the pink lot and stuff like that for capture the flag, then like, I think you need that swag from Kobe Durant. So give me the Land Shark as well. So recap, offensive side, we're going wide receiver heavy. Devontae, Puka, Jordan, Tutu, and then stack it up with K-Dub as well. And then defense, we're going Verse, we're going Curl, Forbes, Lake, and Durant. Yeah, a lot of secondary. No real trenches outside of Verse. So. And for capture the flag, though, I think that's realistic. So, next one here from Payo. Can you believe it's already week 3? No. Honestly, chill out time. I don't know how to do that, but I wish I could slow this down. It says, wow, it's what has been your favorite play from the first 2 games of the season? Edited. I'm guessing you can't pick one, just so feel free to nerd out over a few. You're absolutely right. I can't pick one, dude. Because one, You've got the Puka 4th-and-1 touchdown run against Tennessee last week in the first quarter. You got Devontae is absolutely spilling ankle guts touchdown against the Tennessee Titans as well. You got the Devontae, the crazy sidearm. Devontae was absolutely covered and pulls it off the ground for a first down. You have that catch there. You've got Nate Landman with the punch and Fisk's recovery. Absolutely incredible there. Let's see. I'm trying to think more back to week 1 as well. I would say Byron's forced fumble against Cam Ward week 2 as well. That's a killer one. Yeah, I'm just going to say all of those. That are my favorite plays so far. I don't think we have a play yet so far this season where it's like, that's clear-cut the play of the year. We haven't seen ours yet. Maybe some other teams have. I don't think we've seen ours. Like we saw that was at week 1, Monday Night Football. That must have been 2019. Maybe, no, 2018. 2018, week 1, Monday Night Football against the Raiders at the Coliseum, where Marcus Peters had that interception and did that celebration into the end zone. And it was like play of the year. Like, lock it in, dude. Play of the year. It's week 1. And it was mostly, you know what I mean? We had some pretty sick plays that year, but it was still like it started there, dude. Started there with Marcus Peters getting that pick 6 against the Raiders. Absolutely incredible. Let's see here. Payo again. If you and Tuna were on a road trip together to any Rams road game of your choice this season, where would it be? Assume all expenses are paid and you have a decent seats and a hotel walking distance to the stadium. Thanks. Love the show. Appreciate you, man. Let me take a peek here at the schedule so I can just make sure that I'm not missing one that I think would be absolutely killer for a road trip with Tunes. Let's see here. So we've got, obviously we're in Philly this week. Would never go to Philly. Don't want to do that. Don't need to see Philly. Don't need to be around those fans. I drink beers. No, there's no way. There's no way. In Baltimore, that might be a good time. I'm not sure how crazy those fans get out there. I'm sure it's not dope, but I'm sure it'd be all right. London for Jacksonville. Can't necessarily do a road trip for that one, but that would be a fun one. In San Fran, don't really want to see San Fran. In Carolina, that'd be a fun one if we could definitely just do the whole trip, like LA to Carolina. I think that would be really fun. Get to see a lot of different stuff on the way. Obviously, we need to get rolling, but that would be a good time. In Arizona would not be a bad one, especially that LA to Arizona trip if we were driving that. Just a kind of a little bit of a quicker hit and, have some good times on the way there. In Seattle, that would be a solid one for sure, heading up the coast. Get to see those incredible views on that interstate up the coast there. In Atlanta, that may be the one, man. Especially Monday Night Football against Raheem Morris, Raheem the Dream, and Penix. We got a lot of former Rams out there. I guess more former Rams in Carolina, in fairness, but probably Atlanta, dude. I think I would do that one. It's December 29th. It's late in the year. It's gonna be chilly. It's gonna be crazy. Atlanta, though, I mean, that would be a fun one to go to, I think. I would definitely, if I had to rank, maybe I will one day, rank all the stadiums that I want to go to in, like, the order of, like, most passionate I want to go see them. Still near the top of the list would be Lambeau, even though I've already been there. That was absolutely incredible, man. That was December, 19th, 2022. Baker Mayfield threw his 100th career touchdown pass, which was also the same touchdown that went to Tyler Higbee for his becoming the Rams' all-time leading touchdown scorer for tight ends at that game, which was absolutely awesome. Rams did lose that game, but it was absolutely incredible experience. Wouldn't take any of that back. I would like to win, but you know what? It was such a killer time with one of my best friends. I mean, who's a huge Packers fan, so I kind of take that too. Of like, yeah, I had a killer time, or like I wish the Rams would have won, but I also was with one of my best friends who was at his team's home stadium for the first time in his life and got to see his team win. So I'll take that. You know what I mean? And then, of course, it happened at SoFi too, and the Packers won, and I was with him as well for that. That one sucked. But also great weekend. Did the SoFi tour and all that stuff, but that's not what this question's about. I think I would pick the Atlanta game just because I think that'd be a blast. And a trip all the way across the country, man, would be a good time, I think. So, next few here come from Rams House. Whose house? Says, what is the one Rams moment or player you feel like you didn't appreciate enough? Really good question here, man. I think that ultimately my number one would be Steven Jackson. That just the timing of me watching football and really getting into football and learning it that I didn't really understand what we had in Steven Jackson at the time. And it's easy to go back in retrospect and kind of be like, dang, that was amazing. And I remember watching him so much, and I had his jersey, and I knew what he was, you know what I mean? But I just feel like I didn't soak it in enough of like, no, this is a generational guy. Like, this is a guy he's in like the Mount Rushmore of Rams running backs, you know what I mean? Like, that's how incredible he is. So I would say Steven Jackson was definitely one of those. And then just being too young to really appreciate the Greatest Show on Turf. Greatest Show on Turf started, I was 9. So I didn't really, in my brain, it was just like, oh, the Rams are so sick. That's just what they are. They're just one of the dopest teams. Little did I know they were terrible before that, and we're about to get terrible again. So it was a quick little jump in there for Greatest Show on Turf, which really didn't last that long. Way shorter than the current McVay era. This has already been way longer than the Greatest Show on Turf ever lasted. So, that's definitely one too. That it's like that. I don't know if any of us really appreciated that as much. Maybe there's some people older than me that are like, oh no, I soaked that in. Like I drank that Kool-Aid, you know what I mean? But I definitely was just too young, I think, to truly appreciate it. That's why I'm so adamant about it this time around. And when the Rams are good now is like I'm just really drinking that in because it's not going to last forever. In X amount of years, we're going to be winning 2-3 games a year, and then hopefully build back up out of that again. But that's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like you can't just be sick forever. That's just not the way the NFL works. That's why you get the first pick if you suck the most. You know what I mean? That's why you pick last in the first round if you're the best. You know, they do that on purpose. My best example of that was 2009. Rams were terrible, 1-15, and had the number 1 overall pick. That was the year that the Saints won the Super Bowl. And then you fast forward to, was it? Maybe I'm thinking backwards here. Oh yeah, I'm thinking backwards because I'm thinking of the 99 season where that was where the Saints had the number 1 overall pick and the Rams won the Super Bowl. And then you get to 2009, just 10 years later, Saints are winning the Super Bowl and the Rams are picking number 1 overall. Like it's designed to do that. You know what I mean? So I would say Greatest Show on Turf as well as Steven Jackson. I just didn't truly, I guess, understand and appreciate what we had in those times. That's why I soak it in so much now. Rams House, what would it be like cooking dinner with Tutu Atwell? It'd be terrible for him and me probably. I'm not a cooker. And I don't know about Tutu's kitchen skills. I have no idea. It's not something I've ever learned about, is how Tutu handles a spatch, you know? I have no idea. So hard to answer this one, man. But I'm not a very big cook guy. Also, I mean, look at me, dude. I'm not a big foodie. I can crush some stuff. Like according to Stofers, I am a family of 4. Apparently, and so you got that stuff going for you. But I think that ultimately, I eat, so I just need it. You know what I mean? Like I just need the nutrients and stuff. So I cook and I eat what I need to. Tutu. I don't know. I don't even know how to answer this, actually. I know my skills in the kitchen are not killer. Tutu's, no clue. He might be sick. It might just be me watching and just be like, what is that for? What does that do? How much of that are you putting in? Why so much? Why'd you put that in first? You know, stuff like that. And he'd probably just be like, hey, enough. You know? It's like, how about you just go watch TV or something? Just leave me alone. That's probably how it would end. Rams House, what's more likely? The Rams defense sacking Jalen Hurts 7 times again. They did it in the playoffs. Or the Rams having a 60-yard touchdown run. I think this one's an easy answer. And that's getting to Jalen Hurts 7 times again. I think if the Rams pull off a 60-yard run, I mean, that's mind-blowing stuff at this point. You know what I mean? Like, do we even have anybody who's capable? That's where my first thought is. Kyron's not known for just breaking out a run and just being gone. You know what I mean? That's just not really a thing. Corum, he's definitely he's bouncy. You know, he bounces off of dudes. I don't know if he's got it in him to pop off a 60 right now. You know what I mean? And Hunter, we just don't really see him yet. So I would say that's pretty unlikely. I would even argue with you here and say you could bump that down to 40, and I would probably still pick the sacks. You could maybe do 30, and I would at least have I would have a discussion about it. but I'm still going with the sacks there. Because the way that this Rams front is, and I think too, like this front is going to look back at that playoff game and be like, we got to kill this guy. That's just kind of how I feel about it. So Jared Verse is going to get a very warm welcome from that Philadelphia crowd, of course, and I think that's just going to amp him up. I think that this is the game that we see him get to the quarterback for the first time on the year, and I think it's going to be against Jalen Hurts. And I think that's just simply because he's going to be fired up to do it, man. I think there's going to be no stopping Jared Verse when it comes to hurting Jalen. Boom. And last one here of the quesos is going to come from Rams House. Is this the game we see Atwell have more usage? Maybe a long reception. You know what? I'm hoping so, man. It does kind of feel like we've been missing that part of the Rams attack here is just taking the top off with a 2-2 kind of situation. And obviously, Puka, Devontae, those guys are like, if get those guys the football for sure. But the Eagles actually have a really good secondary. They got a lot of really good players. So if Puka and Devontae aren't as available as they have been these first 2 weeks, then I think there's no reason for Tutu as well as Whittington to get more involved this week than they have so far in the first 2 games. And Tutu, I think that we're just, I don't know, man. There's something about his abilities I've got no questions about anymore, man. Like I did early on in his career with some drops and stuff like that, but I think he's really settled that down. He's now just catches the football really well, which is, I mean, you love to see it, obviously, but I think that, yeah, ultimately I get to the I just get to the point where it's like, does Sean know how to use Tutu? I mean, that's kind of, I think, the question that we got to start asking is what is the hang up here? Why did he get this 1 year, $10 million fully guaranteed contract and he still isn't getting looks, So that's kind of what I'm looking for, man. I'm not really sure. I'm hoping that this is the game because I think that this could be one of those breakout situations where I think this is going to be a different vibe than we felt the last 2 games. I will say that. I think that ultimately we look at this game and like we get to halftime, it's like, this is intense. Like, it's like, sure, we were down at halftime against the Titans, but it also kind of felt like, it's like, oh yeah, we'll probably just, we'll probably start popping off in the second half. We'll be all right. Like, I wasn't worried. I know that. I don't know if anybody else was, but it just kind of felt like, it's like, yeah, we'll be all right. Like, we just kind of had some untimely mistakes there. We're going to get into halftime. We're going to go to the locker room. Sean's going to say some stuff. We're going to come out. We're going to do a good job. We'll be all right. I wasn't worried about it. Houston was one of those as well, where it's close, stuff like that, but just felt like we were the better team. So, but this one, I think at halftime is when we're going to be like, this is intense, dude. Like, this is a crazy game. So I'm looking for that, man. But I think that everybody is going to be a little bit elevated this week. So I think that Tutu is certainly part of that conversation. So that's it for our fan quesos. Let me actually just check one more time on the Facebook, unless Edwin popped in here. So I don't. We got you, dude. I got you, Edwin. Barely got these in, dude. Yeah. So we're gonna head over to the Facebook page here. We got a few here from Edwin. Emphasis on the win. Says, I'm so hyped about this week. Bring it on. Want to be the best we have. If you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. I used to say that all the time, man. I got to bring that back. Good call. Good throwback there, Edwin. Number 1 says, how impressed have you been with our defense? I personally did not see Landman impacting this team the way he has, but I'm glad we have him. Dude, I mean, defense has been absolutely on fire. I think that this is going to be one of the better units in the NFL by the end of the season. Rankings, I think, are already kind of indicating that. But I think that as this team continues to gel, Landman continues to get better, and the front continues to progress as well, because they're all still very, very young, then I think it's just going to keep getting better, man. Landman, incredible addition. Puna, incredible addition. Forbes, really starting to find his footing in this Rams defense as well. They call him Bully, which I absolutely love. Great nickname. That's Kinchins, he said, was the first one to call him that, and it kind of stuck in the DB room. Love that. Absolutely incredible. Number 2 from Edwin. Do you think we should sign? Do you think we should let Blake carry the ball more or let Williams cook? I think a good combination there is absolutely a solid option. I think it's raining really hard right now. I don't know if that's coming through, but I think that it's good to keep them mixed up. And I think that Kyron does get too much of a percentage of the carries, I think. I know we paid him and all that stuff, but I do think you need to mix it up a little bit and let Blake try to get a little bit of a rhythm in there. It just doesn't feel like he has the opportunity to really get his footing going in the ground attack. And I don't care who it is. I don't care who was paid. I don't care where you're at on the depth chart. If somebody could break off a long run, do it. Give them the football. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care because you signed this guy to this contract. He gets these carries. Like, that's like, who cares about the money? I'm not signing checks, so I never care about the money. But I think that you just got to look at it from that sense of, like, whoever can do it, do it. That's where I'm at with it. Number 3. What will be the biggest reason we beat the Eagles this Sunday? Time of possession, converting on third downs, and getting the Eagles off the field. Make that punter use his leg. Absolutely. Number 4, I think Big Rig Higgs will have a big game this Sunday. Who do you think will have a big game against the Eagles this Sunday? Thanks for all that you do, bro. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, dude. I think that, Higgs is a great answer for that, man. I want to say it was the 3 touchdowns against the Eagles in 2020 when the Rams beat them in Philadelphia that COVID year. I think that this is certainly a game where he has that ability, that potential to really light it up. But I know I'm just talking about Kyron and stuff like that, and Kyron, like the contract, and I don't care about all that. Just give somebody the ball who's gonna make it work. And I think that Kyron can have a big game this week. I think that the Eagles might overlook the Rams' run game a little bit, maybe. Hard to say for sure, but I do think that that's absolutely possible. So I'm going to say that Kyron is actually the one, and especially on like third and short, I think that we need to be able to run the football and convert those short yardage situations. I just think we have to do that, man. I think we have to. Thank you for your quesos. Absolutely appreciate y'all, man. I got my post out a little bit late, so I was worried that not everybody, that all my regs were going to see it, but looks like at least a portion of y'all did, which I absolutely appreciate. But we got a game this Sunday. Rams at the Philadelphia Eagles. Going to be one hell of a matchup here. Both teams 2-0, early season matchup. This is absolutely going to be one of those games that we look back on, though, at the end of the season and be like, dang, that played out, man. Like, no matter what happens in this game, it'll impact something. Both teams are in divisions with other really good teams. As you got Washington playing with Philly. You got, obviously, the Cardinals are also 2-0, as well as the 49ers right now with the Rams. So this game absolutely means something, especially when we get to week 13, 14, 15, 16, where we're looking in the playoff race. This is going to be one of those games where it's like, well, in week 3, this happened, so now this. You know what I mean? That's absolutely going to be a real thing. So keep your eyeballs on it. Thanks for hanging out, though. That's going to do it for me. Thank you for your fan quesos. Make sure to join me on the Ram Showcase Facebook and YouTube page this Sunday ahead of the matchup, as I'll be live there and possibly doing a giveaway. I think I can pull it off this week. And like I said, if I do have a trivia question for you, I gave it to you during this episode. So be on the lookout for that. Do your homework, dude. Do your homework. But that is going to do it for me. I am Sheriff Joe Baggs. This has been Ram Showcase on Sports War Radio and the Fan-Sided Network. For those of you who aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are Rams fans, thank you so much for watching, and go Rams.